everyone and welcome back to my channel. I am Britt, and if you haven't subscribed yet, you probably should because I normally talk about geeky things. But today we're going to be talking about something that I have never given to Cosmo once in his life, and if I ever get any other dog in the future at any time, that dog will also never have this. So what I'm talking about is rawhides. Now, why don't I give rawhides to Cosmo? It is because I do not like them, even a little. And in this video, I want to talk to you guys a little bit about why rawhides I feel are incredibly dangerous and why you should never feed them to your dog, and some alternatives to rawhides that you may not know about that are much better and safer for dogs. So what are rawhides? Rawhides are basically leather leftovers. So in the leather industry, there are pieces that are not used to make leather, and those things are generally taken from the slaughterhouse and made into dog rawhides. Generally skin of the animal that is left over. So it is generally put, and we'll talk a little bit about the production of rawhide, but it's generally created and put into the shape of like a bone or sometimes a candy cane during the Christmas season, things like that. But the actual production of rawhide makes it very not digestible, and some of the practices that are used to create the shapes are also very, very questionable. So let's go ahead and talk a little bit about rawhides and why you shouldn't feed them to your dog, and like I said, some better alternatives that are going to be more beneficial for your dog versus something like rawhide. So as I said, rawhide is left over from what is not going to be used to create leather in the leather industry, and that leftover is provided to dog companies to make, or companies that create dog products to create rawhide. It is immediately put into a salt, like a brine type of thing to keep it from decaying, because obviously dead animal parts will decay over time. So it's put into this brine to try and restore it. It is then put through a bunch of chemical washes essentially to get rid of the fur and to give it the very clean color, not colored, they're not looking for a specific color, but the clean look that rawhide normally gets. And then it is also roasted a little bit to give it kind of a different flavor, and then it is processed into what eventually becomes rawhide. To create the actual rawhide like bone shapes or the, you know, the candy cane shapes, they will generally use glue to hold it together. So stuff that should not be eaten, that toddlers eat by accident and then get told not to eat, we're putting into our dogs if you feed rawhide. Now, not all of them are like that, but a good portion of them are. And it takes a lot of time to create rawhide, which means that it's actually sold at a higher rate than it probably should be based on how it is actually like, how much it should be because of like how they actually got the materials to do it. But because of the way that it goes and things like that, you're paying a lot of money for chemical washes and for just time spent, which honestly, there are, again, so many alternatives that are the same price or less, or even maybe more expensive, but you're actually paying for like legitimate stuff. And we'll talk about those, like I said, in a little while. One of the other issues, of course, is, now mind you, take this with a grain of salt, because this is all based on simply what regulations are put for dogs or cats or anything like that in other countries. And the regulations in China are a lot lower than they are in other countries, but a lot of rawhides are actually produced and manufactured in China. And so because of that, there are a lot less regulations there. So they can use glue. They can use chemical washes that may or may not be healthy or even safe for dogs to eat. And so the actual production of rawhides is really scary, is really questionable. And it's something that when I learned that, I chose when I got Cosmo to never, ever feed anything like that to Cosmo. Now, mind you, I started working in the pet industry shortly before I got Cosmo. My first pet store job, I got basically like a month or so prior to getting Cosmo. So I had learned already a lot about things that I should and should not be feeding to my dog prior to getting him. And one of those things was Rawhide. I was told time and time again that Rawhide is terrible, and after I did the research, I also stand by that. So Cosmo has never had a Rawhide that I know of. I guess when he has stayed at other people's houses, I don't know if they have ever given him Rawhide. I know my sister used to feed Ace Rawhide, her dog, until I told her about Rawhide and how it's produced, and then she stopped feeding him Rawhide as well, and has gone to some of the alternatives that exist. And I don't know if Cosmo has ever gotten Ace's stuff when Ace has been here or when we've been there. But again, so I don't know if Cosmo's actually ever had a Rawhide ever, but as far as me, I have never given Cosmo Rawhide, and again, I will never give him Rawhide. I will never give any dog that I may get in the future at any point in time Rawhide. But yeah, so it's just something that I stand firmly against. The other issue, and this comes directly from the AKC website, so a pretty well-respected website when it comes to dogs and raising dogs and dog breeds. Now granted, every dog is different, but there are major choking hazards with Rawhides, there are major digestive issues with Rawhides, and while every dog is different, my dog, while can't handle grains, has the stomach of a bull. He has eaten a whole sock before. When he was a puppy, he ate a whole sock, not he put a sock in his mouth and chewed it up into bits. He like swallowed an entire sock and it came out the other side, a whole sock. My dog has had chocolate. My dog has had a whole lot of things that he's not supposed to because he's gotten into them when he was a puppy. Hi, Bubba. And he's fine. He has obviously had the runs with some of those things, but for the most part, he's fine. So I don't think that he would have a problem digesting Rawhides, but Rawhides also have a very high percentage of dogs getting sick off of them, getting sick from them, because I'm sure the glue holds some weight on that, but also because the skins have no nutritional value. There's really nothing about the skins that are good for dogs. Plus, because they're soaked in the brine, they're very, very salty. So they're just not good for dogs all the way around. And so a lot of dogs will have a lot of digestive issues if they eat a lot of Rawhide. The Rawhide does not digest well in a dog. The other aspect of it as well is, again, the chewing. Now granted, again, Cosmo is a chewer. Cosmo is a golden retriever. He's a retriever breed. Retriever breeds tend to be very mouthy, so they tend to chew a lot. I can show you damage from my first apartment that he caused from chewing. Or not my first apartment, but the first apartment we lived in together. And so yeah, Cosmo was a very destructive puppy because he chewed a lot when he was young. And so Rawhide would have been great because it's a really good chewing food. It's a really good chewing toy that turns into food. But that being said, still, it tends to also be a choking hazard for dogs because what happens is that it will activate with the saliva and actually become loose or become more malleable, and then it will sometimes harden before it gets down into their stomach again, and it can cause some serious choking issues. Now there are other things that do the same thing, and again, we're going to talk about those, but they are a lot safer because of the shape. In Rawhide, a lot of the shapes are going to be very thick pieces, whereas with other ones, they're not as thick. So I don't like Rawhides. Rawhides are very dangerous. And if you feed Rawhides, don't worry as long as your dog does okay. But I would highly suggest maybe taking those away and replacing them with some alternatives, which are my favorite, which is bully sticks. Bully sticks smell really bad apparently. I don't have a sense of smell, so I really don't know, but according to my mother, they smell terrible. Now if you don't know what bully sticks are, they are bull penises that are basically turned into jerky to an extent. They are also ones that will soften when the dog's saliva touches them, but they are usually in a very thin stick form, and you can get different sizes for different dogs that are safer for dogs of different sizes. So Cosmo tends to get bigger ones, which are still sometimes only as thick as like this, maybe, if that, sometimes not that thick. But I really like bully sticks because it takes Cosmo a very long time to get through them. So if I ever just need him to be distracted for a hot second, granted as he's gotten older, having to distract him to keep him busy so that he doesn't cause destruction has obviously gone away tremendously. So sometimes now bully sticks just are gotten for him because it's a nice little treat, usually for his birthday or for Christmas, things like that. Which, speaking of which, his birthday is coming up, so I gotta start thinking of what I'm gonna do for his birthday. But anyway, but yeah, so I mean, there is bully sticks, which again are my personal favorite because it takes Cosmo forever to get through them. The other options, Cosmo, who is a big chewer, gets through them very quickly. So that's why I like bully sticks. But other alternatives would be things like antlers. Antlers are great. They're usually not edible. Usually dogs don't eat them, but they are really good if you just need something for your dog to chew on. If you have a puppy that is chewing, if you have a puppy that is teething, honestly, antlers are fantastic. I don't love giving them bones. I do give Cosmo bones from time to time, but only just because I know he can handle them. But bones, again, are something that can really disrupt their digestive tract, because a lot of stuff you buy at the store tend to be smoked, and for some reason that tends to not sit well with dogs. Cosmo will get the runs for a little while after eating a bone, but for the most part he's fine after eating a bone. So those are a really good alternative as well, but just understand that that can also cause some digestive stuff too, maybe for a day or two, but that's about it. Pig's ears is another good one. Pig's ears are my sister's favorite thing, but Ace is a lot smaller and not really that much of a chewer. So he's a herding dog. He's an Australian cattle dog. If you guys don't know Ace, he has been on my vlogging channel every once in a while because he does stay here from time to time. He comes over for Christmas generally. He comes over for big family functions. He and Cosmo are really good friends. So they're cousins essentially, but you know, good friends. So Ace does come here from time to time, so you guys may have seen him on my vlogging channel before, but and if not, then definitely somewhere else on social media because I post about him a lot because he's so cute and I love him. But Ace is not really that much of a chewer because herding dogs tend to not chew a lot. It takes him a bit longer to get through things like a pig's ear. If I give Cosmo a pig's ear, he's done with it in 5 minutes because they're so thin, and his bite like index is a lot higher because again, golden retrievers are very mouthy. They're a very soft mouth. They have a very soft mouth, very soft bite in respect of, you know, having to pick up a dead duck or waterfowl of some sort and bring that back to the hunter, because that's the whole point of a golden retriever, is that they are water dogs, they are waterfowl hunting dogs. That was the whole point of breeding out the golden retriever. But so while he can pick up an egg without breaking it in his mouth, at the same time he has, when he wants to chew, he has quite a bite to him. So again, pig's ears being so thin and so small, they tend to not last more than 5 minutes. So that's why I prefer bully sticks over pig's ears. But if you have a smaller dog, pig's ears, especially smaller dogs that don't necessarily chew too much, pig's ears are a great alternative to rawhide, and honestly, less expensive. And it's literally, again, just jerkied pig's ear. It literally is just a pig's ear. There is no reshaping it of any kind. It is literally just a pig's ear that is dried like jerky, and it's really hard, and you just give it to your dog and they chew it to their heart's content. So that is one of the big reasons why I've never fed Cosmo rawhide and have found alternatives to rawhide. So I highly suggest you guys find the same alternatives to rawhide. I think you guys will find some really good ones, either that be in bully sticks, bones, if you want to go that direction, or pig's ears, because a lot of them are really great. Or again, for the less edible things like antlers, which are really great, or I've even seen pig's hooves, things like that, which are really great and less destructible, so they're less eaten. They're not eaten as often. So there you guys have it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments below if you guys have ever fed rawhide to your dog. It's fine if you have. I just personally want to spread information about why I don't and why I find them to be incredibly dangerous. But if you feed and continue to feed rawhide, that is your choice as a dog owner. I do not judge people for their for how they raise their dogs, because everybody's existence is different and everybody's choices are different. Because I don't know your life, I don't know why you choose rawhide, and I'm not going to sit there and judge you for it. But just understand the facts behind it, that rawhide may or may not be actually dangerous for your dog. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know if you fed rawhide or if you fed any of the alternatives. If you used to feed rawhide and you don't, or if you are like me and have never fed your dog rawhide, let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you guys all next time. Bye.